Mono Red and Is It Phoenix are the two decks. Daniel, the last remaining Is It Phoenix competitor here. If Ben wins, it'll be 3 copies of Mono Red into the top 8.
Ooh, that is several copies.
Was the most popular deck here on day 2. Already in the top 8, Harlan Fear and Alex Watt. There were 3 copies of Jeskai Super Friends making it in. That was not a popular deck on day 2. It just turned out to be the best deck.
Yeah, exactly.
The team, I think you can just say they broke it for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great deck for the weekend. We see both of those two as well as Kazu making it in with the same archetype.
But over here for Katz and Fournier, Is It Phoenix a fairly popular deck choice here? A lot of the competitors playing, Ross Miriam had a win and in for it, but did not convert. See if Daniel can do better. Right now, though, it looks pretty good. Keeping the board clean with just some shocks at Tormenting Voices.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the name of the game with this Is It Phoenix deck is don't die and eventually you'll win.
Yeah, and I love this. Then you go up to Crackling Drake. Crackling Drake draws a card and already a 5/4. And it takes 2 removal spells from Ben. A great exchange here for Fournier.
Yeah, that's got to feel great. That's just a 3-for-1. 4-for-1?
3.
3-for-1.
3-for-1. Great. It's a good play.
That
is nice. Let's do that again.
Is it?
Oh, that one. Here's Chandra Fire Artisan from Ben.
Call this one the Lava Spike.
Yeah, in this kind of matchup, it's okay here, though Daniel has some tools to take care of it. Starts by jump-starting Radical Idea. Now I'll cast Opt. No Phoenixes in the graveyard yet. And just 3 spells anyway. Shocks and attacks the Chandra.
Well, why wouldn't you want to play 3 spells? There's so many spells.
That's just what the deck does. Even when there's no Phoenix, you play 3 spells. Daniel does take 5, though. His loyalty was removed from Chandra. So right now, Ben ahead in the race. And his draw here of Experimental Frenzy might just mix it up. Just right now, Gitu Lava Runner, Wizard's Lightning, shoots down the Phoenix. Can Daniel play 3 spells again? Well, let's find out. Opt. Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, it appears he's going to find a way to power through this incredibly trying time.
A bit of a close decision for him.
Yeah, so he has Lava Coil Tormenting Voice in his hand.
All right.
And so he's going to be somewhat priced into discarding either the coil or this other card.
So in a sense, it doesn't really matter what this card is, right? You're just not going to, you're going to discard it.
Right.
So it looks like it was a Radical Idea.
Okay, so that's a point where you don't have to discard it with the Tormenting Voice. But you can just cast the front half, but this lets you get the front half of the Radical Idea out of the way.
Yeah, and that's what he does. Unfortunately, he draws into Arclight Phoenix.
Well, I guess I'll just have to cast the back half of the Radical Idea.
Not too bad. Swings in with both Phoenix. I actually like that as opposed
Racing.
to... Yeah,
Love
Racing is very good here. Experimental Frenzy from Ben attacks back in for 2, but this is a race that Ben's on the losing side of. Down to 10 and 11. Daniel goes back to attack, starts with Opt.
Ooh.
A 3rd Arclight Phoenix in his hand. So chart a course, he'll draw 2, discard a Phoenix. That's free. Plays a land. He Lava Coils away a blocker. 3 Phoenix come in. Ben down to 2. We're pausing for a second here. Actually, I love this from Daniel. He stops and says, wait, no. Just attack with 2 Phoenix. He doesn't have the burn to make it lethal this turn. Might as well leave back a blocker in case some haste comes off the top of the deck. Then goes back and says, no, he needs the damage. He'll send it in. And back to Ben we go. He needs 10 damage. Starts with Shock. Daniel at 8. How about Light Up the Stage?
All right,
Holds
that's
it on the stack, checks the top card. It was Wizard's Lightning and Runaway Steamkin. Top card here. Well, Ben can chain through enough. He can't, so he Wizard's Lightnings himself and we're on to the second game.
It's just respectful. Just clean magic.
You got to watch out for that clock. End it as quick as possible.
Why scoop up the cards when you can go out on your own terms?
And go to sideboard. I love this kind of preparation here from Ben Katz. Just take out the old sideboard grid, check the match, and go accordingly.
Hate it.
This is great. Why would we not prepare for events?
You got to play it by feel.
Oh, that's terrible. That just sounds like what people who don't want to make spreadsheets say.
Listen, Matthias, I understand you're a numbers guy, but It's just a spreadsheet.
When I hear people say that, that's like when I play on sports teams and I'd be like, oh, I have to go practice. And someone's like, I don't really practice. I just, try to be good. It's better to be good than to practice.
I didn't say you shouldn't have a plan. I'm just saying maybe flexibility is nice.
I don't have to follow. I don't know. I'm like not priced into doing what's on the sheet.
Then why do you have it?
Because I'm allowed to have it, and more information is better because it reflects my practice. I don't have. Yeah,
I'm allowed to bring a clown nose to the tournament, but I don't.
I mean, it's like saying, okay, if you're gonna it's like saying, well, I know how to drive a car, but I still keep my manual in the car in case I need to check something. I don't just try to memorize it and then hide it. I just have it there. Then I have both. I have the reference when I need it.
Yeah, I think that's a little different. Are you just how do I turn on the windshield wipers and whip out your manual?
I don't know, there's 20 matchups. Sometimes I forget. I come up with a plan and I forget what it is, and it's just we'll check. Look, information's great.
Look.
All right. Let's go. Okay. So the Monarch versus Is It Phoenix matchup, it does devolve into a race at some point here, as we kind of saw in that game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we saw from the Phoenix deck in general is how fast it can turn the corner. At first, it just played a removal spell, then a Crackling Drake to try and get an exchange in there, and then all of a sudden there were 3 Arclight Phoenixes on the battlefield, and everyone was dying.
Yeah, I think that's the scary part is that, right, Ben can't really remove Arclight Phoenix very well. That's not where he wants to be pointing his burn. So he just has to get in enough damage before the game gets to that point.
Right. That being said, there are a lot of draws that can come from the aggro deck that kind of just run over the Phoenix deck. Right, we kind of saw that last game where there was a Lava Coil in Fournier's hand for a long time that just didn't get to do anything. You're priced into keeping a lot of those spells in, and if Katz has the spell draw instead of the creature one, all of a sudden you might just have these spells stranded in your hand, so it's harder to get back Phoenixes and so on.
Swing in turn 1, Fanatical Firebrand from Ben Katz. And Runaway's team can join in down to 18. So Ben getting some early damage in. So Daniel with the early removal.
All right, the Firebrand has been a Lava Spike.
Yeah, it's already been pretty good this game. Third land missed by Katz.
It's hard to say if that's a good or bad thing from Red. Because on one hand, they might be choked on mana. On the other hand, they got gas.
Shock, swing in another Pyromancer. So down to 10. This is a quick opening here. Crackling Drake going to try to stabilize things for Fournier. But Lightning Strike and Firebrand at the ready just to answer the blocker for more damage, and Fournier down to 6. Just doesn't seem to have the removal to stabilize.
Yeah, this is a really just one of those between a rock and a hard place situations.
Yeah, actually cards like Viashino Pyromancer I really like in the matchup against Phoenix because they are both burn spells and demand an answer.
Exactly. It's just going to put you out ahead in terms of value in a lot of ways. Where even if Fournier does have that removal spell for it, you both spent some mana, except one of you is down life in this exchange.
Yeah, Fournier was able to make a blocker. He finally got one Arclight Phoenix going, but so far behind in the race, he actually can't attack with it yet. Direfleet Daredevil from Ben. He'll cast Daniel's Opt, get a Fanatical Firebrand. And now he's deciding whether he wants to trade away his 2-on, and it looks like he says no.
Yeah, the answer is likely no. It's so easy to just recur the Arclight Phoenix. You might effectively just trade and then have one less resource to Fournier's the same number of resources.
Yeah, Fournier here behind his blocker. Now has to figure out a way to move forward.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's just such a rough spot because he's at such a low life total. You have to find a way to actually pressure Katz so you don't just die to a couple lightning strikes. But how are you going to protect yourself if you're attacking?
So chart a course. Now he has Finale of Promise. So he'll get to cast the Opt and chart a course. He's going to opt first. He'll draw into Arclight Phoenix, then cast chart a course, discarding Arclight Phoenix. That was an excellent turn.
Okay, that's fine. That's something.
Yeah, it's about, and Lava Coil away a blocker from Katz. One Phoenix gone permanently. The Daredevil can swing in if he'd like.
Yeah, and this is a spot where I might just alpha. Even if it trades with a Pyromancer, I guess that only makes it. It does put him down to 3, which is just lightning strike range.
Yeah, and I think he chose the conservative line here of just swinging in the Daredevil, keeping all his material. Daniel will get to. Daniel blocked anyway.
Oh, I guess okay. So the big sweeper in this format right now is Fiery Cannonade, which doesn't kill the Firebrand or the Daredevil here. So you don't.
They're both pirates.
Yeah, you don't even really need to respect the sweeper that much. You're not incentivized to trade off cards for damage.
Shivan Fire takes care of the Pyromancer and brings back 2 Arclight Phoenix. And Daniel, he knows he needs to attack at some point, so it is one Phoenix coming in.
This is great.
Ben, 2 cards hand. One of them is Experimental Frenzy. He swings in with the Daredevil. A block and Shivan Fire takes care of the Daredevil.
Okay.
Daniel turning the corner. But he's at a really risky 6.
Well,
wait. Oh, shoot upstairs. Light up the stage. Gets another Daredevil and a Pyromancer. Daniel's down to 3 with a pirate in play, so he's at a virtual 2. So Firebrand is a damage. Can Ben find 2 more? Here's Experimental Frenzy. And Shock. Yes,
that counts.
is I think that is exactly 2 more. So we are headed to a 3rd game. Ben was really kind of running out of resources there, but what has happened is Daniel just could never start attacking. So this was just, eventually Ben would draw the burn.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want your red deck to do, is you want to have exactly enough resources to deal 20.
Yeah. It's hard, if Daniel had something like, I guess, a card he could hide behind, right? Something that could block. It feels like then maybe he could start dealing damage. But the problem is these Arclight Phoenix with 2 toughness just don't really do that.
Yeah, those don't block very well. Crackling Drake costs a bunch of mana. Saheeli's kind of fragile, if we're being honest. You're looking at some real mopey cards for something like that in blue-red.
Right.
Wall of Runes out of the most recent set. Just your 1 mana 0/4. Would have gained a ton of life that game, but you don't really want to be putting those in your constructed deck most of the time.
And so for our 3rd game, we'll have Daniel back on the play. It feels like because it's a race, and we saw kind of what happens when Daniel gets too far behind in the race, these early turns really the game needs to be kept close for Daniel to be able to attack.
Yeah, and he needs to just trade resources early and get Katz to trade resources as well, because all Fournier needs to do is spin his wheels and Phoenixes will recur themselves. They just cantrip and a cantrip and a cantrip. He can do that all off of a single draw step. But, if both players get a chance to just have a bunch of cards at once, it's easier for mono red to just point a bunch of burn spells upstairs and the game be over immediately.
Handshake here, this one to send them to the top 8. It's game number 3 here for that last spot in the top 8. Fournier on a keep. Ben is not. And Daniel mentioned trying to be the lone Is It Phoenix player in the top 8. Was our 2nd most popular deck. Actually, very interesting here. Is it Phoenix and Esper midrange? Both huge numbers in day 2. We have 1 Esper midrange player in the top 8 in Kenta Hiroki, and 1 or 0 is it Phoenix players.
Oof. Yeah, and those decks can just kind of get eaten alive by some of the Super Friends decks that we've been seeing.
Next popular decks, Esper Control and Azorius Aggro. Neither of them live for top 8. It really was mono red of the top decks performing well, and then this Jeskai Super Friends deck of the unknown decks performing well.
And that's just what you'll see happen where, we talk about all these statistics, but there are only 8 spots in top 8. So if 2 or 3 people kind of break it, that's half your top 8 almost.
Shock takes care of the Goblin Electromancer. And Daniel will set up things with a Opt and Charter Course, but gets an Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard. Though he has fallen a bit behind. Lava Runner and Chain Whirler on Ben's side. Can Crackling Drake stop the attacks? We'll see.
Crackling Drake does not feel good to play out here.
Yeah, especially because it plays like this, right? Ben plays Fanatical Firebrand, attacks with Chain Whirler, and then says, would you like to block?
Yeah, and if you do, it's just a trump block.
Yeah. First strike would go on, he'd finish it off with the Pirate. What Daniel can do is use this to try to race back. He'll start with Tormenting Voice, discarding a land as spell 1. Lava Coil on Chain Whirler is spell 2. Spell 3 will get his Arclight Phoenix out of the graveyard if he has one.
This pause is not the pause of someone with a spell.
And he just has to pass. That's a huge miss.
Ugh.
And now on the way back, it's Lightning Strike and Firebrand to take care of the Crackling Drake, and it's Ben who's attacking. Daniel's gonna have to rebuild. Here's Charter Course, finds 2 lands. That's not much help. Another Charter Course finds land Crackling Drake. That will be good next turn. But as it is, he Lava Coils away and gets back 1 Arclight Phoenix.
Ooh.
Swings in, but here's Experimental Frenzy from Ben. Frenzy finds Lava Runner and Firebrand. Back to Daniel we go. He's down to 8 against a Frenzy. He needs to deal damage and deal it fast.
Yeah, and 17 is not punk someone out range.
Yeah, with Crackling Drake and Saheeli, he might be able to get it done next turn, but it has to be something like that.
Yeah, and even then, you don't even know you're going to get another turn. 8 is not high.
No, and he doesn't have counter magic or life gain, so it's in a lot of ways it's out of his control.
Right, and at a virtual 7 life too, thanks to this Firebrand on the battlefield.
Right. Yeah, I guess if he finds a burn spell right here, he might just shoot it at the Firebrand to gain himself a life point, as gross as that sounds.
Yeah, you are probably just priced into doing that. You can at least block the Lava Runner.
Yeah. Ben is 8. Daniel swings in for 3. Ben to 14, leaves back the Drake as a blocker, says go. Can Ben, he'll start with Lava Coil on the Drake. Land off the top. Rekindling Phoenix. Top card swings in for 3. Daniel to 5. It was not the lethal attack, but it took away Daniel's attack. The Drake's gone. And surely next turn, there will be enough damage.
Oh yeah, you have to assume that that's going to be good enough, given another turn.
Electromancer from Daniel. That's not going to do it.
And he has a Finale of Promise in his hand, and it's hard to tell. Basically, he's just trying to figure out what he needs to deal with.
Charter Course and Opt are the 2 spells he chooses. And another Finale of Promise. I mean, a lot of value here, but none of it stabilizes.
Yeah.
Shivan Fire. Okay, shoots down the Phoenix. Can swing in. Ben takes damage, but now Daniel has to sweat a big turn. Here's another Frenzy.
All right.
Top card.
Well,
maybe.
Katz is never casting a spell from his hand again.
Here's Lightning Strike.
Ooh.
But it's 1 point short. Where does it go?
Gotta point it upstairs.
Daniel to 2. And there's the shock. Ben gets it. Wow. And 2 games to 1. Ben makes it in with to take that last spot with